Okay, so we're back from our laundry break. Premium adulting is what this is.
What this is.
Premium adulting. So you're working at the place in Hurlingham, you decide you're going. Let's get into the planning now, because it's a journey, baby.
It's a journey.
You decide, you plan before you leave. So tell me about the planning. How much planning did you have to do?
I don't think it was that much.
Yeah.
So first of all, I decided that like I was going to leave. So we decided either it's a job.
The company or the country?
No, so we decided we are leaving regardless.
Okay.
So I was like, we're leaving the company.
Okay.
So I was like, I wasn't getting another place. I was like, you know what? Leave the job market in Kenya. It's in the pits. Let's do what? Let's leave the country.
Yeah.
So I decided to leave the country. I was like, the easiest way to enter the country was through school. Because I was trying to find jobs and it wasn't working out. But then I also read a lot of things and it was like, like before they bring you from Kenya, that's a lot of stuff. And then Uku, mostly, they called people for interviews over the phone. And my phone was a Kenyan number. So
Plus
like,
254.
Yeah, so maybe no mana see it. So I was like, you know what? I think the easiest thing is let me go to school, and also makes it a bit easier transition. Like kikiumana at least nimerudi na shule like a postgraduate. Yeah. So I started looking at schools. Initially, I knew I wanted to come to BC because Canada is big. So you have to decide like the province you're going to come to. You can't just say, I want to come to Canada. I'm like, where?
Are you warning people? Because you see the same thing that, and this is a note to guys watching, see the same thing where you tell someone like, I'm from Kenya. It's like, oh my God, I know someone from Algeria. Do you know them? That's the exact same thing when someone tells you they're from Canada and maybe they're from Uko. And then you ask them. So Canada has how many provinces?
We are Canada, made up of 10 provinces and 3 territories with capitals and all.
It has provinces.
It has provinces. And they're all very different in the way they govern. So everyone has different rules about how they do things. It's like, ni kama kila province ni nchi yake in its own. So like we decided like I was going to come to BC. First of all, it was good. It's warmish. It's not so cold. And it was also good for my husband's career because Vancouver is very good in film.
Hey, this husband of yours is lucky. Unamfikiria all the time.
Itabidi
Dawari itabidi tumerevisit.
Itabidi kimerudiwa. So yeah, I decided BC was going to be the good place.
BC is
British Columbia. So I was like, BC, we settled on the province BC. So in BC, I decided like, even so mine and talking to a few people like, discovering like Uku colleges and unis are the same thing. Like the college is much cheaper than what the uni has.
Yeah.
And it saves you a lot of money. So I decided on the college. So I narrowed down the colleges I wanted. So of the top 3 I applied to all the 3 and I got the one that called me the first, the one I went to.
You actually have to pay for application.
Yeah,
this
you have
is something
to pay
that people
for application.
don't understand.
Yeah, you do have to pay for. And I think it wasn't cheap. Because I think every application I think was almost like 100 card, which is about maybe like 9K
per application.
Per application, you actually have to pay to apply for a school, which is ridiculous.
Why didn't you do Akina Uniserv and whatever?
Because I tried it, but because I'm a citizen of the country.
Hold up, hold the phone. You're a citizen of Canada.
Yes, please.
Okay, we'll get to that in a bit. Okay, you tried Uniserv?
Yeah, I tried Uniserv because it's a bit overwhelming. The internet has a lot of information. So I tried to go to them and I was like giving them my documents, blah, blah. I was telling them what I want to do, where. So wakachukua vitu zangu and then they were like, oh, submit to us your birth certificate and your whatever. I was like, oh, I don't have it right now. I'll give you when I get home. So when I got home, I sent it to them. They were like, babes, hold up.
So you usually it makes sense. Uniserv or Uniconnect or all those companies that are based in Kenya getting Kenyans to go to foreign unis. So your situation was different.
Situation was different. They couldn't be able to do it for me. Like unless I applied to the schools as a Kenyan, which didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to spend that much money.
Let's put a pin in this and then go back to you're Canadian.
Yes.
How are you a citizen?
I was born here. So my mom was in school as well and she decided to give birth to me here. Lucky.
She decided ama ulisema huko I want to be born.
Unaona kama hizo memes watoto wanazaliwa alafu unakunja uso unasikia mtu
tuko wapi?
Tuko Githurai. Damn it.
So
I was like, ooh,
you were actually born in Canada?
I was born in Canada.
Have you lived in Canada before?
No, this was my coming back to my birth country moment.
Oh, ulizaliwa tu afu ukashipiwa back.
I think they stayed for a while, I think a year or two. But I guess maybe the 90s were a different time, so they decided to just go back home.
All right. So, that did influence your decision on where to go.
Yeah, it did influence, for sure. I wasn't going to start with like immigration and stuff. And I think even that's what makes my story a bit easy and a bit different, because I was privileged in a way that I only had to book a ticket to come. I was paying school fees as a citizen.
And the rates are different.
The rates are so different. So like I had an easier path. I didn't have to deal with RCC. You know,
RCC are the immigration
guys for Canada.
All
so
right.
yeah.
So it was okay. Now we've covered that. Going back, you applied to the schools.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell me the name of the school?
I'm a student at North Island College.
North Island College,
yes.
Right here in the city of
Right here.
Iko Comox ama iko Courtney?
Iko Comox.
Comox.
Yes.
Comox na Courtney zimeshikana hivi. They are straddling each other. so
Right.
So you got into NIC. That was your way in. You didn't like to learn how Canada works, to learn how people do things, to even get an easier way into the job market.
Yes.
Okay, so you decided in the school planning. You have to wrap up an entire house.
Yes.
And what about your husband? He's not a citizen.
Yes. So I looked into. We knew we were going to. Once I got into the school, we knew we had to relocate. So then, after we got into the school, I think we sat down and we were like, we have to go now, because what the hell? So we were like, started looking at sponsorship, like what happens? Like when you get married, what do you need to provide? Show proof of relationship. How do you sponsor someone?
Proof of relationship.
Yeah, like
when you have to send them your DMs.
No.
How do you prove a relationship?
Proof of relationship was like photos, your social media. Letters from family members. So it was like documents showing that this is a genuine relationship, and photos you've taken, hata kama mja post social media, like photos you've taken in your relationship. And the Asian like really valuable to taken photos like with family members.
Yeah.
Like it was me, you and my grandfather. They're like, oh my God, yeah.
Uyu ako ndani.
Uyu ako ndani. Na shosho, uyu ako inside. Me, you, and your mom, Vitukaizo, they really love such photos. Because it shows you're not hiding such a secret relationship.
You like, men who are out here hiding your ladies, or you ladies who are hiding your men, take photos.
Yeah, so it's a good thing we actually had like quite a bit of photos. Even if we weren't posting all of them, we had like
kulikuwa
na ka album ya 2 photos. So it was an easier-ish process. Because we just sent the photos, put the letters, showed proof that we had money to sustain you, because you sponsor someone, you're supposed to sustain them, I think, for all their period, for I think 3 years. Financially, you're not supposed to ask like for aid or anything from the government. So you need to provide like documents showing that tuko solid, hata lalanja.
All right. Na hata kuwa burden. Actually, Canada wezi lalanja. It's because if you don't have money, you'll be a burden to the province, and they do not want that. All right. The story is coming together. You're a citizen. You came in as a student. Your husband is married to a citizen, so that's spousal sponsorship. You proved that, you applied, boom. Kwani, how quick did it take? Did you and your husband come here together? But I'm getting ahead of myself. No, tumemaliza planning kwanza. I want to see planning for school, wrapping up the entire house. Because you're moving across a continent.
Yeah, but then again, I came by myself the first time.
Your husband did not want to come? What's wrong with this boy? What's wrong with this man? What's wrong with your husband? Your husband didn't bring you to Canada, coming to a new country that you've never been to before, and your husband decided not to come?
Imagine.
Talaka tatu. Mbio. Why didn't your husband come?
Because it didn't make sense the first time. Because we'd booked, because what we'd done is, another thing I think we haven't mentioned, is when I was coming, so we decided I was coming to school. So the first semester I did it at home, like I was online.
Distance learning.
All so I was doing it online. But the distance became a bit too much, because here in Canada and Kenya is like 12 hours apart. So uku wakiwa asubuhi, Nairobi it's 4 a.m., 6. So I used to sleep at like 6 a.m. I must sleep the whole day. I wake up at night. So it became unsustainable. So we decided, hey, now we were trying for us to stay together and save money, but...
Oh, so even ukifanya distance learning, sazile watu Kenya wamelala, when you're supposed to be asleep, that's when the class is going on.
That's when the class is going on.
It's like, students, let me see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. and that's your 1 a.m.
That's my 1 a.m.
Come on.
Yeah, so it was very, like, I think we tried to save money in that way because there was no need for me to come here because my school was online.
Yeah.
But I tried to do it for, like, I think 3-4 months. And it wasn't...
Decided you cannot live like a watchman.
I can't.
You cannot live like a watchman. Come on. Night shift is for... You decided no.
Oh my God. I decided no. I was like, enough is enough. I was like, I'm going to the country. And everyone was like, oh, but the school is online. You can stay here, save money. I was like, I have tried.
I'm losing my mind.
I'm dying. Because I was missing everything. I might as well be in a different country, you know, because people were at 9 and I couldn't because I'm asleep.
Drinks after work.
Mi nimelala. I'm like, after work, mkiuko mnaserereka ndo I'm supposed to hand in an assignment. So anyway, so nikajaribu kikaumana. I decided, January I have to come. So yeah, booked my tickets.
You still haven't told me why your husband did not come with you.
Because it didn't make sense. He was coming to do... We hadn't...
Companionship.
Oh, and also we hadn't gotten his permanent residency yet.
The documents hadn't finished processing.
So by the time I was coming, his his permanent residence hadn't been approved yet.
All right.
It was still in the process. Actually, maybe that's another thing.
Okay.
So that's why we didn't come together.
And
so
I guess...
Ikabidi nimwache and mwambie, behave yourself.
Did he cry?
I don't think so.
Huyo mwanaume.
Alikuwa amefurahi kwa peke yake.
Remember, in this situation, I am an interviewer. I am not your husband. Let's kuniangalia hivyo. I'm not your husband. Okay, but I guess it's also kind of nice because living in Canada is expensive, and if you have someone who's working, who kikiumana anaweza tumaka kitu, at least it's not so bad.
Yeah.
And feeding 2 mouths in Canada is more expensive than feeding one in Canada and another in Kikuyu. All right. So you came over, umesema uliingia January 2022?
Yeah.
January 2022.
Yeah, so I came in January this year, and so my situation also like different. Like nilikuwa najaribu kuangalia like places I could stay at, and the internet, as I've mentioned, is a very confusing place. And alafu saa wanaekana Canadian shillings nata sielewi as in like CAD dollars. And I was like, how much money is that? And I was like, is that cheap? Is that expensive? You know, because you don't earn in that currency, you don't understand
the value of money.
You don't know whether that's cheap, whether that's expensive, whether that's normal. So I was finding like houses. I'm like, iyo iko wapi? How far is it? Wanasema ati iko downtown court ni Neko.
How far is it?
From the school? Do I take 3 buses? Do I take 1 bus? So I was getting very confused, and I decided, you know what? I'm already having enough on my plate. Moving to a whole place, finding a school and stuff. Let's do this. Let me ask the school whether there's something they can help me with. And looking at the school website, I discovered there's something called Homestay. So
they don't have hostels?
No, the school is a bit small, so they don't have hostels yet. So we went through the school to get a homestay. So homestay is where the student is put in a family home. So wako na room kama like a 5-bedroom house, you take one, but you pay them. It's not at for free.
It's like if your family, you take on a student as a tenant.
Yeah, as a tenant.
Kind of.
Yeah, and it's normal here because of how expensive things are. Most people usually rent out their rooms for students so that they help them like pay mortgages
and it's full
stuff.
board by the chakula pia.
It's full board. So whatever unalipia shelter, food, Wi-Fi, heat. So it was also a very smooth landing because of that as well. Like it made things a bit easier because nilifika nilikujua airport, nikapelekwa kwa nyumba, kulikuwa na chakula, the heat was sorted. Like it was a very cold month, and that is usually their winter.
Yeah.
So I was very appreciative that nilifika place and I'm not figuring out like
smooth landing.
Kulikuwa na joto, kulikuwa na bed sheets, kulikuwa na chakula. As in, I stayed there for the first 4 months and I was comfortable.
Haikuwa
kwani niko jingine?
It was
haikuwa hivyo.
So it was kind of smooth.
Yeah, it was kind of smooth, and I really think like God, we thought about that because I think I'd have gotten really overwhelmed.
Yeah, by everything.
Because I was new, I was the only black person for a very long time. Like I wasn't seeing my people.
And it's very, because a lot of people, like when they go to school, it's either they go straight into a hostel, so the school sorts all of that out. If you're staying in a dorm, no problem. But you're coming to a school that doesn't have a hostel, you don't know anyone in this city. You're going to a city you don't even know. Mtu moja, do you know this? They don't. But the homestay really helped.
Yeah.
But that was you, January 2022. Wheels up in Nairobi, touchdown in Courtney.
In Courtney. Yes.
Okay, beautiful. All right. Tumefika hapo hivyo. Now they're settling in. Did you have enough clothes? Umesema uliingia January. Did you have enough clothes for the winter?
I think I did. I think...
How did you get winter clothes?
From those guys who sell clothes for hiking.
Huh?
Watu wanauzanga nguo za watu wa Nairobi wenye who love hiking. That's why I bought
like mountain climbing
like
gear.
mountain climbing, yeah.
Oh yeah, because when you go up Mount Kenya, that's kind of like the climate of here.
So that's why I bought the stuff.
Oh, where exactly in Nairobi, in case someone is looking?
I can't remember.
You can't remember. Was it in Ngara?
Oh, it was.
It was in Ngara.
Was it called?
Actually, what was that guy's name? Tembo in Ngara.
Tembo.
Yeah, your husband has told me that that's where you guys went. So you had enough clothes.
I had enough clothes. Actually, I didn't buy anything extra like to make me warm. The only thing is, because I can't just come in so I'm not wearing a shirts, but then in January I used to wear my outside clothes in the house.
Because you were still adjusting.
Because I was so cold. I was like, what the hell is this place? Because it was so cold to me. In the house, I had shorts, I had t-shirts. I'm like, are you mad?
You crazy.
Me, I thermal, I'm like 3 layers deep and I'm in the house. But it took me time to adjust. But now here we are with t-shirts.
T-shirts. Let me ask you about school before we move on to work. Nanini. Is school in Canada different than it is in Kenya? Because you've gone to university in Kenya.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I think, from my experience, I don't know whether it's because I did a postgraduate. I'm at the school
watu wazima.
Yeah, and generally at Nairobi, I think postgrads and masters are a bit easier than undergraduate. So I don't know whether that's it or like school here is very easy. But what I found here about the school is they're very accommodative. Like an assignment is easily postponed. If you can't make that deadline, they can tell you it's okay, you can submit it on Friday. Like, see Nairobi...
As long as you're communicating.
As long as you communicate, tell that, oh, sorry, I had a family thing, I did something, like, taketa kujua nitty-gritty. You don't have to explain like a whole 3-page essay as to why you can't make that deadline.
In advance.
Yeah, in advance, be like, nimeona hiyo siku na sitakuwa available or something, and then be like, oh yeah, makes sense, fine, submit it on this day. They have services like when you write a research paper, like a term paper, you can submit it to someone, like to the lecturer, to proofread it and tell you how many marks he'll give you. And
marking before the marking.
I'm like, what is this country?
Foreplay before the marking.
Aye.
Sorry. I apologize to the people watching.
But
that's
yeah.
Nice.
But I was like, what?
That's
like
beautiful.
That felt like cheating to me. I was like, what?
But it's something that you can do.
But it's something that you can do. I think Nairobi tunakwanga ni shule ukram, you figure yourself out.
Instead of actually understanding.
Huku you understand and then you submit the lecture. It's like, I don't think you understood that question. It's like, if I was you, I'd do this.
Because sometimes you write a term paper that is total garbage. You're in that direction. People are going this way, you're going this way. If someone told you before, you're like, yo, you completely misunderstood. This way, you'd be like, oh, and then now you actually understand. Because the goal is the learning, not the cramming and doing exactly what. Okay.
The school system is very, and I really appreciated like stuff like that. Because I'm like, you understood the assignment and yes, you are outside.
Out there. All right. Love it. School going well.
School going well.
Tell me about work. Did you get a job? Because it's all about getting jobs.
True.
You can't survive without a job.
True.
Yeah.
So you see what we did the first few, so I landed in January. See, I quit Nairobi. See, I started Bigali, and then the house we were staying, the homestay, we'd prepaid for it for the first 4 months. So there was no one owing me money or anything. I'd paid for food, for shelter.
You can stay zero budget the whole time.
The whole 4 months I was fine. I was eating, I was being fed, I was in the Wi-Fi, so there was no need for whatever. But just for small things, my husband used to send me money.
Oh,
yeah,
such a nice boy.
But sasa can get hectic. Just like imagine convert Kenya shillings to Canadian, like it got.
Someone saying, nimekutumia 10,000 Kenya shillings. It's like, so I have lunch in Canada. So this is.
So you want me to stop ni school lunch cash? Is that what you're saying?
Honestly, like 10,000 Kenya shillings is probably $90.
Yeah, that's probably a meal, to be quite honest.
It's like a meal. Meal for 4 people. If you go out, like, no, 3 people.
For even 2 cash,
2.
90.
Yeah.
Like,
By then,
like
yeah.
a nice, like
Like
you
a
sit
nice
down,
meal.
you eat, you
That's a
drink.
meal for- that's a date.
That's a date.
So 10K, you're like, so I should eat
So
tomorrow.
you're like, sir, but say it funny now.
So the
Yeah.
the foreign exchange rate wasn't making sense.
It wasn't making sense. Like converting Kenya to Canada wasn't making sense.
And also for the soul, because you need work for the
Yeah,
soul.
you need work to keep yourself active. Because you see, another thing I'd mentioned, school was online, so I wasn't meeting anyone. I wasn't leaving the house. So like I was getting a bit sad. Like hata kumtu akisema tuenda group kutafuta school, I was like, oh yeah, let's go.
Let's go. At least I see the outside.
But so I was looking for jobs. So I was looking for jobs online, like same things like we have in Nairobi, like Akina LinkedIn, Akina Indeed. Those are the same places I was looking for. So
what kind of job are you looking for then?
At this point, I was
manager,
looking
of course.
at this point, I was just looking for anything. I wasn't too particular because I knew, like I was in school as well, so my schedule I wasn't available Monday to Friday. So nilikuwa najua, I'm only available for a few pocket hours. Like I'm available the whole Wednesday, I'm available Friday from 10 to. So even me, I knew need to admin 2 jobs. So I applied to a few places, and I got a place that called me. So that was less than a month after I'd landed.
Come on, with quickness.
With the quickness. They need the labor here. So nika-apply, nikapata, and actually I'm still at that job that I got that month. So I've been there since February of this year. That was like 14th of Feb, I think that's when I started.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I've been there since, and I'm still there.
Tell me about the job market in Canada. Wase udhani ukienda majuu immediately you get a job. Is that the case?
It is to some extent.
Tell me.
What I think is jobs are there. Like clearly with my case, nilipata a job like less than a month after I got here, which means they're looking for people. But you won't move from where you were in Nairobi to come and copy paste here where you are, like in Canada.
In what way?
Like always they come at me when I left my job, I was an operations manager. I can't come here and be an operations manager just like that.
People what,
I can't have people under me. I'm running to do what management. No, you have to start at the entry level or like I don't know, like
square one.
Yeah, you have to start. That's what I've seen. I don't know whether people have a different experience, but from my experience, even on Meona, like you have to start again, like unaingia na 2 interns.
No, but that's good that you've said that. Melissa has said in her experience.
Yeah.
It's a very personal story.
Yeah,
stories are different, but this is your testimony.
In my experience, I've seen like that's it.
Okay.
Like people want to see at least umefanya kazi huku. So like that experience ya Canada. So my school, thank God nimefanya shule huku, and now I have a bit of experience working here. So I'm hopeful like maybe next year or like as we are going on, like I get like a job that's
back to the level that you know you're at. Okay. Yeah. I hear you. Yo, we've given a lot of info. We need to start wrapping up, but I need to ask you this.
All right.
The charades.
Charades.
Kenyan accent is big. But then whoever tells Kenyans, you know what Kenyans say? Kenyans don't have an accent.
Yeah.
Bruh, you have an accent.
Yeah. But even we said, like, I think the other time we were talking and you asked me, do you think like your accent would change? And I said, because my job is very like
talking to people
over the phone, customer service. Like I talk to people over the phone, in person. Like I find myself saying like different things. Like
kama saizi umesema person.
Come imagine, hata sijrealize umesema person. Excuse me.
In particular, that one person in particular. Yeah.
Madness.
All right.
The Kenyan accent it means like umesema.
Actually, to Mengia, that's the first challenge. Accents and languages.
Oh yeah, true. Accents. Some people think we don't have an accent, but actually we do have a slight accent.
One.
We have everyone keeps asking me, oh, where's your accent from? I'm like, what accent? I'm like, what are you talking about? I speak perfect English.
Does that annoy you sometimes?
Not really. Yeah. I don't think it annoys me. I do realize I sound different. Well, I know that mi mwenye siski, nikijisikia najisikia I sound perfect. Like my English is
perfect.
My English is na uko. But when nikiongea nao kila time, everyone has to ask, oh, where's the accent from?
Do you think you'll ever forget your Kenyan accent?
I don't think so. Well, it depends. If we stay in Courtney, I don't think so because we have a number of Kenya. Well, not a number. We are like 5. We're not a number.
You're like a small kikundi.
We're like a
of
small
Kenyans.
kakikundi.
Yeah.
So oftentimes we find ourselves, we always speak Swahili to each other. So
Yeah.
I think if we stay here for that long, I don't think I'll ever forget it. But if at all we move to a place where we are the only Kenyans, ama like
Tricks.
itafika point hata mimi nitakuwa nasahau ni nini tunasema. I'm like, what's the Swahili word
So
for that?
if Melissa ever comes back to Nairobi and she speaks to you and she sounds like this, do not mind her. She's not trying to sound elitist or anything.
On anything.
That's just what the country does to you. Anyway. Other challenges that you faced. Tumeongea story ya exchange rate noma. Ku provide you back home. I do not actually understand how parents can support kids maju.
I know.
Because your dad sends you, usually 10K of pocket money would last you a full month in Kenya. Here you send 10K, it's 2 days later, you're like, Dad, what was that?
You're like, Sasa, what's happening?
So that's one of the challenges.
Yeah.
Tell me about maybe 2 more challenges that you faced.
Apart from my hair, which is obvious, because
it's difficult to get people to
it's difficult to get people to do your hair here. First of all, the salons, I've never even tried, because first of all, I don't think we are more than 20. Okay, maybe I don't think, no, 20, I think we're not more than 20 black people here.
Wow. Especially black women.
Especially black women.
There are not a lot in
so that awenye tunajua 20 tumekuja in the period of this year. So hajakuwa hata nao tumekuja si wote tu influx. Na kila mtu is just trying to figure out, how do you do your hair? Who do you do?
So because there hasn't been a need, it's like you won't find a barber who knows how to shave Caucasian hair in the middle of Keno.
Yeah, true.
For why? They know how to make a number 1 Jordan number fade. They don't know how to use scissors.
Yeah.
So the same thing in Courtney. There's no one to do your hair.
There's no one to do your hair.
Oy.
And that's because there isn't a market for it as well.
Yeah.
So I guess we all struggle with it. So me, the good thing nilikuja na a few braids.
How did you get braids into the country? You carried them yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. You're not going to say how you forced your husband to fill half his suitcase with braids. Let me tell you guys, her husband when he was coming to Canada, half his suitcase was braids. But that's a story for another day.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's a story for another day.
I don't know what you're talking about. Me najua nilijibebea braids.
So you do your own hair here?
I try to. Sometimes if I may, and I get someone to do it. There's someone there's a babe we came with the same year as well. She's Nigerian and she knows how to braid hair.
Nigerian girl knows how to do her hair.
So she does our hair sometimes and I don't feel like, because not the kijifanya I'll take a whole day.
Yeah.
Like this one took us like the whole day to do it.
Oy.
So na yeye akifanya since she's done it before ni 2 hours na amemaliza.
Kenyatta market style.
Yeah, but then it's also expensive. You can't keep affording that like every time doing your hair.
How much is doing
like
hair?
Braids is like kufanya hii ni kama maybe I think 150. Which is
150.
like 14 Gs.
Umekuja na braid yako ama
umekuja na braids zako
14,000.
Niambie. The Kikuyu in me is like kai.
Your ancestors are crying.
Nasema hizo ni bagi za simiti wewe anaweka kwa nywele huyo.
Badala ya kutuma ijenge foundation.
Ende foundation.
But then you can't live
maguta.
You can't live like you have to be you have to thrive where you are.
Yeah, but then sometimes I allow myself the privilege and I'm like, you know what? I have to do that hair. It can't stay like that.
You work
And then sometimes I'm like, you know what? Hata nishuke matuta, I step. Melissa, please. Nashuka matuta, I'm like
homesickness.
I think it reduced once. It got a bit less once my husband came, and then once I found the Kenyan community. But it's still very much there.
Still very much
it just significantly reduced because by the first few months I was the only one. First of all, I didn't see black people for about 4 months.
Oh my God.
It was hectic.
Oh my God.
It was giving get out vibes.
And that camera just cut out. Wait, let me. That camera just cut. Okay, we are holding again because one of the cameras has a limit on.
And now my love for you is so strong.